We have our Love Island winner, and what a season it's been. Hey everyone, I'm Philip, and this is Love Island, the Daily Graft. I am so thrilled that Justine and Caleb won Love Island. As you know, if you've been watching me, I was tossing between Sally and Johnny and Caleb and Justine about who were my favourites. But in the end, Caleb and Justine were far and away my favourites. I am so thrilled that they won, and I really hope that this is just the beginning of an amazing journey for them both. There's also 3 reasons why it's so important that they won. First off, Love Island historically has been really bad for representation. It's mentioned a lot in the media and a lot on Twitter and social media about the fact that there is a lack of diversity in the casting. So to see Justine and Caleb win this is such a huge win, not just for the show, but in my opinion, society. I also never thought that I'd be talking about the presidential debate and Love Island in the same sentence, but the day before the final of Love Island, Trump refused to denounce white supremacists. So to have winners who are African American just feels like America is still on the right path to equality. I know it's such a small thing compared to everything that's going on, but it gave me hope for America, truthfully, in the weirdest possible way that the winners of Love Island are African American just feels like a really positive step in the right direction. Finally, Justine and Caleb are just the sweetest 2 people I've ever seen on Love Island. I love them as a couple. I love how much Caleb loves Justine, and I love how much Justine loves Caleb. I really want this relationship to work out, and I'm just so excited for what's to come for them both. Let's talk about the last few episodes and everything that led up to the final. On Monday's episode, we had my least favorite episode of every season, I've got to be honest. It's the baby challenge. Listen, I don't want children, and to hear screaming children on TV for the majority of the hour episode, I'm like, that's enough. If ever I needed a reason for not to have kids, it's this challenge. The most hilarious part of it all was the boys doing a relay race to prove how good they were as parents and get the babies ready on time. The funniest part of it was Carrington breaking the baby's leg off. If that's not a metaphor for Carrington's entire Love Island journey, I don't know what is. Brilliant. On Monday's episode, we also had the final dumping. The Islanders were the ones left to decide which couple would be leaving, and it was based on who they thought was least compatible. Moira and Calvin had chosen Bennett and Laken as the least compatible. Bennett and Laken picked Carrington and Laurel as the least compatible. Laurel and Carrington picked Bennett and Laken. Sally and Johnny picked Carrington and Laurel. This left a tie vote with Caleb and Justine having the final say, and they picked Bennett and Laken. I don't necessarily think that was the right decision. I actually would have gone with Johnny and Sally's opinion. I really respected Johnny and Sally that they didn't just look at who were their friends, but they looked at who was the most compatible. Even though Bennett and Laken's relationship is new, I do think they're more compatible than Carrington and Laurel, as I've stated across many of my episodes. This left the 4 final couples as Carrington and Laurel, Moira and Calvin, Sally and Johnny, and King and Queen, Justine and Caleb. I had made some early predictions about who I thought would be in the final, and I'd mentioned Sally and Johnny from very early on that they would absolutely be in the final. Moira, I always felt would be in the final. In my very early episodes, I mentioned that I thought she would likely be in the final, even though she had a little bit of a rocky middle and couldn't figure out what relationship she wanted. But there was something about Moira that made me think she would be in the final. Carrington, well, I mean, sure, he's the most dated person in the island. By the end, he'd been on 7 dates. So odds were in his favor that he was gonna be in the final. And then of course, King and Queen, Justine and Caleb. I was very happy with the final 4 couples in the end, even despite my disdain for Carrington. We had some really incredible final dates. The first couple to go on a date were Carrington and Laurel, and they got to drive through the Valley of Fire in a Ferrari and have a picnic out in the desert. Epic date. I mean, let's be honest, that would be so cool to do. The next couple to go on the date were Justine and Caleb. They got to go on a helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon and then have a picnic in the Grand Canyon. I always wonder whether when the producers are deciding on the dates, whether they already have an idea about who they want to win, and so the winners always get the most epic dates. Because of all 4 dates, Justine's and Caleb's was the most epic. Helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon versus some drinks by the Caesar's Palace pool. Which one would I go for? So yes, Moira and Calvin, they had a nice little dinner and cocktails by the pool at Caesar's Palace with a string quartet playing. Very romantic, but it pales in comparison to a helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon. Johnny and Sally's date was very sweet. They got to watch 2 dancers and have dinner on the stage of the Colosseum. I did love that the dancers kind of represented Sally and Johnny's relationship. Very good production from Love Island. We got it, we read it, we saw it. Good job. We had the final ceremony, the declaration ceremony, where everyone got dressed up all fancy and they had to read out words of love towards each other. Now, Love Island production, if you want to send me Calvin's jacket, I would take that. That would be a really nice gift, thank you, because I loved Calvin's jacket. The girls all looked stunning. They all looked pretty fly. The speeches to each other were all incredibly heartfelt. I loved Johnny's words to Sally saying about how they were like Bonnie and Clyde. I really appreciated what Carrington said to Laurel, giving him a pass here, where he said, I can't wait until we miss each other enough that we want to move in together. Listen, I'm gonna be a positive person here and say I hope for the best for this relationship, and if Carrington stands by his words here, let's be positive and wish good things for Carrington and Laurel, especially Laurel because she is just such a doll and she entirely deserves happiness. Calvin deserves the props for funniest and shock factor. He was talking to Moira and then he said, and then I'm gonna get down on one knee, and made a joke and all Islanders were like, what? Because they thought he was gonna propose. It was hilarious. Calvin was very dry for me for a long time, but over the last couple of weeks, he's really come out of his shell. And I have really positive things to say about Moira and Calvin's relationship. If they had figured out their relationship earlier on, I think it would have been a very close 3-way race of who was going to be our winners. Because over the last few episodes, we've really seen Moira and Calvin developing a strong bond and developing a good relationship. There's been many very sweet moments, such as their cute little handshake, the fact that Calvin makes Moira cheese toasties, grilled cheese, sorry, I got very British then, grilled cheese, and the fact that they had that little sleepover outside under the stars. I have high hopes for this relationship, I really do. I think they are very well suited and I'm glad they worked it out, if a little late, and hopefully they can continue to strengthen and grow this relationship on the outside. Justine and Caleb's speeches to each other were the only ones I cried at. If I haven't said it enough, I love Justine and Caleb so much. Justine's words where she said, you reminded me how to love myself. Justine, you should never not love yourself. You are the queen, you are fabulous. I hope you know how amazing you are. But it was also Caleb's words to Justine where he said, a light is exactly what you are. I love seeing a man who is truly passionate about their woman, and I love how much he loves Justine. He has just shown throughout this journey how to be a gentleman and how to treat a woman right. I love seeing men who know how to treat women well. Listen, I'm a gay guy, so all of my friends were girls growing up, and I've seen the way men can treat women, and let me tell you, there are some shitty guys out there. So when a good guy comes along and treats women well, he treats her like the queen that she is, and I just love these two. I've said it so many times at this point, but I really do, I just love them. We come to the final night, Ariel comes in and announces the winner. 4th place was Carrington and Laurel. I mean, no question, sorry. 3rd place was Moira and Calvin. 2nd place was Sally and Johnny, and then king and queen of not just the villa, but of our hearts. So cheesy, but it's totally true. Justine and Caleb. I was just really pleased to see those two as the final two couples. There wasn't really a doubt in my mind that it was going to be one of those two couples. Truly, Justine and Caleb ended up being my absolute favourites. It has been such a good season, and it's probably in my top 5 of Love Island seasons. Nothing is going to beat Love Island Australia Season 1 or Love Island UK Season 2 and 3, but this is probably a close 4th or 5th, because I also love Love Island UK Season 4. Whatever. It's in my top 5. It was a really good season, and the villa setup in Vegas actually really worked out in the end. Highlights of the season. First off, I've got to give my props to Ariel, who always kills the looks. Every time she walked in, I was like, damn! She killed it this season. Matthew, the narrator, some of his one-liners were great. I love a bit of sarcasm, and I'm sorry, Americans, but you don't usually do sarcasm very well, so Matthew killed it. I really loved the girl power in this season. Spice Girls were my all-time favorite band. They still are. So whenever girl power is present, I'm all for it. Throughout this season, even when a couple of the girls were after the same guy and there was drama around that, they always supported each other. Kirsten always giving her support to Laurel. The great relationship between Sally and Justine. Team Celine. It's just great to see positive female relationships on TV and seeing that even with adversity and drama in the villa, that they can all look out for each other. Lauren's exit when she left the villa, I love that she just dropped a couple of bombs as she left and was like, I'm over this, you need to get a grip, you need to get a grip, you need to sort it out, boom, 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 see it. Highlight, it was so great. There were also some amazing challenges. I loved when Justine was like, I'm gonna pick Caleb to make out with. And then, look, it worked out perfectly. I also really loved the setup in Vegas. The fact that Caesars was the sponsor, so they had so many amazing venues to choose from. I loved the villa on top of the rooftop. It ended up being really great. Castro Mall was awesome. I want to see tropical villas and I want to see them go back to Fiji, but given the current climate, this was great. It worked out really well. I loved the villa setup. Finally, I just loved the love. I know that's a corny thing to say, but it's been a rough year for everyone. So to just be able to watch a show where all it's about is people getting to know each other and people wanting to fall in love and spreading that positivity, that's just what we need right now. So for anyone who talks about Love Island saying it's mindless TV, great. That's what we need. We've had enough drama for this year, so some mindless reality TV where people are just flirting and falling in love. Give me more Love Island, it never disappoints. For anyone who's been following along with the Daily Graft, all my fans, it's mostly just my mom and my husband, but thanks guys. I'll be back for next season to talk more Love Island. It's been a ride. Congratulations once again to the King and Queen, Justine and Caleb. I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.